Hey Shelby, it's Saturday, and this is a clip of two missionaries at a yarn store learning how to knit. It was so cute I just had to be creepy and take a video of it from behind without them knowing.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
Today we will have another segment of Alex watches movies from her childhood as a grown-up, brought back by popular demand. And by popular demand, I mean my little sister asked me to do it again. So I said I would do Pocahontas too, so that's what I'm doing today, finally, at last. Not a lot of people know that there was a second Pocahontas movie. It was one of those straight-to-VHS things that they made. As a child, I didn't realize it was a straight-to-VHS, and so I had higher expectations for it than I should have. I thought, as a sequel to Pocahontas, I thought it was going to be like Pocahontas and John Smith getting back together and living happily ever after, and my dreams were crushed. The sequel, of course, is Disney's attempt to patch up the train wreck of historical accuracy that was the first film. And honestly, it has just as many historical inaccuracies, even if Pocahontas does, in the end up with the right person. Because if you haven't seen the sequel, what happens is Pocahontas has to go to England to talk with King James and Queen Anne about the, Native American English colonial relations, and she hangs out with this guy named John Rolfe, who's the person that Pocahontas does actually marry in history. And then she kind of just completely blows off John Smith and hooks up with John Rolfe. I mean, honestly, after the beautiful ending of the first movie, which leaves me teary-eyed even as a grown-up, how can Pocahontas leave John Smith for John Rolfe? I mean, they have even less romantic development than Pocahontas and John Smith had in the first movie. You know, sure, Rolfe encourages her to go back to her own people and, be herself at the end of the movie, but he only starts liking her when she starts Europeanizing herself. At the end, John Smith is kind of like, alright, Pocahontas, let's get back together and be an awesome, couple that we were in the past, and Pocahontas is kind of like, meh, I'm kind of in love with John Rolfe now. And John Smith is like, okay, I guess let's go away now. I think I could have liked this movie if they totally didn't just brush off everything that happened in the first one. I mean, honestly. Meanwhile, Smith remains completely awesome. Although he, became even more sarcastic and witty and funny, and, everything he says is hilarious. There's one thing I love about this movie, and it's the highlight of the entire thing for me, and that is the totally bad A minor characters. I would be referring to the, I can't remember his name, the Native American who comes with Pocahontas to be, the bodyguard, and he's, really tall and, completely silent and totally awesome. I don't know why, but every time he was on screen, it made me incredibly happy. So, overall, this movie, I hate it just as much as I did when I was little. And even though I can see they were trying to fix the historical inaccuracies, but it was still pretty inaccurate. It could have been really well done if they'd taken some time. Am I asking too much for a straight-to-VHS film? I don't think so. I think it would be really interesting. Historically, John Rolfe converts Pocahontas to Christianity, and he, despite how socially unacceptable it would be for an English gentleman to marry a Native American woman, he does it anyway because he loves her so much. And you don't get any of that from the movie. It could have been awesome. I have nothing against shipping Rolfe and Pocahontas, but it could have been done better. Could have been done better, Disney. Shelby, I've ranted so much that I don't know how to end videos anymore.